Suicide. It is a serious public health problem in the U.S., and the suicide rate among people of all ages has increased over the past 20 years. Among U.S. college athletes, suicide is now the second leading cause of death after accidents. Rates have doubled from 7.6% to 15.3% over the past 2 decades. It's according to a just published study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. And it raises a lot of questions, the biggest being why. Joining me on the morning show, Nicole Davidson-Harshaw, a nationally board-certified licensed mental health counselor with LJD Family and Community Services. Hey, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Bruce. Thank you for having me here.
So people may be surprised because we think college athletes have, protective factors, supports of teams, teammates, coaches, trainers, doctors, and others, yet it doesn't insulate them from the mental health concerns.
Yeah, it does not. It does not. And the thing is, there's a lot of pressure to perform for a student athlete. They tie in that significant amount of time and effort they put into their passionate amounts of getting to those standards, meeting those accomplishments, and that really has to be done while they're maintaining their academics. So their athletic and academic go hand in hand. And that can put a lot of pressure on them and build up anxiety and build up the stress for them as well.
And the public kind of puts them on a pedestal, and we don't always know what's going on in their minds and how that pressure does build up. So without getting into particulars, the study also found some surprising trends, and those trends highlighted the need for better screening methods and prevention strategies. What's the key takeaway for those who work with these student athletes? Is it that you've got to be more cognizant about potential signs that the athletes may have some troubles?
Now you said there's something very key. It is important to be cognizant. We at the LJD JFCS are very huge and honor those pre-standardized kind of mental health screening tools that can be used. And that allows for there to be a proactive measure. There allows for a time for early detection and less reactive. And so those tools and those measurable ways of looking at what is this person coming in with and what are they going through, that can be regular, that can be confidential. And too, it also gives student athletes an opportunity to be more mindful for themselves, how to monitor their body, how to know what timely resources are accessible for them, and to start really cultivating a different cultural perspective for the conversations about mental health when it comes to athletes.
And you know what, sometimes when they're in the spotlight, they buy into the hype. And if there's a letdown, does that only heighten the anxiety and the depression, and then they internalize it and make things worse?
Yeah, it really can. Athletes have a willingness to perform at a certain level. They have high expectations and maybe very limited coping skills. It's not to say that they do not have any, but they could be very limited. There's that high impact and that willingness to look at my identity as an athlete, right? And I tie my identity into my self-worth. And so there's no room for failure. There's no room for vulnerability. And so when they have setbacks, when they have injuries, that tends to make them feel more having a sense of loss and a sense of worthlessness. And so there really is no place for that opportunity to not perform according to what they believe should be their outcome. Unfortunately, with the limited coping skills, we might see substance abuse. We might see eating disorders. We might see self-harming behaviors, and that's leading to some of the trends to which you refer.
Yeah, they also find that timing is key, and they found that there are key times when, the problems among the athletes were less, like from June through August, and Mondays and Tuesdays. Does that timing provide any information?
I think the timing does provide information, and again, that goes back to that proactive, measuring tool to have some pre-screening things done. Ideally, this is a time that is perfect for partnerships, professionals to kind of come into play within the organization of a university as well as on the outside. This offers an opportunity for psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors to come together and start having those very real conversations about what's next and how to maintain those resources as an accessible usage for athletes, for their facilitators, their trainers, their coaches, the administrators, and start really having a different cultivation of perspective.
Now, I know the Paris Olympics is coming up, and this has nothing to do with this study, but the NCAA proactively has already made some changes. What else needs to change?
They have. That's a great question, because the first thing I would say is, although I cannot speak for the NCAA, I would really want athletes to understand that they have a voice that they can use for themselves, right? And to mute and block some of those naysayers, the negative commentary that they're exposing themselves to. They have a lot more of that off-screen activity in their day-to-day functioning as opposed to their peers. And so a comprehensive mental screening tool in the beginning. Find out what they're coming in with. Have a plan on what it's going to look like. What would those coping skills be for them to maintain other hobbies outside of their athletics, relaxation activities that they might be able to do. Also know how to tap into getting that self-management, but also tapping into that time with a friend or family member. Go someplace where they can be validated and their feelings heard. At the JFCS, we always want our athletes to know that if the mental health challenges get to be too much, to contact us, get aligned with a counselor. They can go to jacksonvillecounseling.org and really get the support that they need. But never stop having those conversations because they're absolutely medically necessary.
Now, this study had to do with college athletes. Am I wrong in assuming that perhaps some of these problems begin when these students are younger? I mean, I see pressures on kids when they're 5 years old and out on the field.
Yeah. My fiance's son is an athlete and he is absolutely phenomenal. However, their children, when they start really having the passion about those different sports, and it's not just our main line stream sports, but even the sports that we don't always hear about. And so someone can come in, like we said a moment ago, with that psychological distress. So it's really, really important to start having that coping mechanism in the beginning, but that begins with screening. And, I highly, wholeheartedly endorse that ability to start screening in the beginning, having those mental health tools to start having the conversation for early detection and proactive measures.
I know it's not real life. I don't know if you ever watched Ted Lasso, but yeah, he knows how to play to the psyche of the athletes and how to get to them. Mainly because he's got his own mental health struggles.
Right.
But
the one thing we're made up of, even you saying that, you, me, Ted Lasso, whomever, is that we are human from the inside first, right? And that internal infrastructure is paramount to pay attention, build your awareness. Who am I today? Am I different than I was yesterday so I can do the things I need to do tomorrow? And that means sometimes just taking a pause. Your mental health is just as much a part of the rest of your well-being. And it starts from there, and they talk to each other. Your body and your mind really talk with one another, and we get to listen.
And I don't think we do that enough. Thanks for being here.
You're
Some
very
really good
welcome.
advice.